Good afternoon, members of the Planning Committee. It is 2 p.m. Clearly I'm not a member of the committee, so I'm here to invite nominations for chairman. Mr. Kelly. Dr. Kelly.
I would like to propose that Mr. Stephen Pugsley be re-elected as chairman.
Thank you. Do I have a second? Oh, Francis was there first. Any other nominations? All those in favour? Excellent. That's probably all I ever do on the planning committee. Oh, right. I just thought we were sharing.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for the very exciting year we've just had, and doubtlessly very challenging 12 months that we will have to come. But I do thank you all for your service on this committee, and thank you very much for your support for it. The second item of business is the election of a deputy chairman, vice chairman, and I would like to propose Dr. Kelly. Seconded, right? Seconded by Jeremy. Are there any other nominations, please? I see all those in favour of Dr. Kelly. Thank you very much. Congratulations, Dr. Kelly. So, the first item of ordinary business is apologies for absence. No?
Chairman, I'm sorry to interrupt. Laura,
Okay, and we also have them from Evelyn Stacey. This would have been her last meeting, but unfortunately she had a doctor's appointment and couldn't stay for it. So I'd like to record our thanks to Evelyn for her service. As you know, we thank Mr. Elson for his service when he was here at the last meeting, but if we could pass them on to Ms. Stacey, that would be very good. Are there any declarations of interest or lobbying of members or unaccompanied site visits, please? No? Thank you. The minutes of the meeting held on the 5th of May have been circulated. May I take them as a true record, please? Proposed, seconded by Dr. Kelly. May I see all those in favour? Any against? Any abstentions? Those passed. And matters arising, anything from page 1, please. Do we have any idea when that deferred item might return?
It may well be next month, Chairman.
Will it require another site visit, or do we take it that the site visit we had will be sufficient?
I think the site visit we had will be sufficient for it.
Good. Well, there was a good attendance at that site visit, and I think we learned a lot, and hopefully members will remember the lie of the land. Page 2.
Mr. Chairman, I noticed that there's a closed enforcement action relating to first application.
Do you mean on page 1?
No,
page 2. Oh, I see. You mean the Trooper Common one?
Yeah.
Yes. Do you want to comment on that? Mr. White?
Only say, Chairman, obviously the application came in as a result of an enforcement investigation which was opened at the time following the grant of the Planning Commission. We were able to close the file. Some members might know, so some wood stacks have gone in since, and they are outside the red line site. We have addressed that with the applicant. There is timber from their own holding, but it will shortly go and continue within the committee area.
Okay. Anything else on page 2? Page 3. Okay, thank you. So, item 4 is any business of urgency. I'm not aware of any. Public speaking, item 5. We haven't been advised of anybody who wishes to speak on any item on the agenda today. So we will go straight to item 6, development management. And the application that we have to deal with today is agenda item 6.1, application number EXM/26/077/4. And that is going to be presented by Mr. White.
Thank you, Chairman. The application relates to Driver Farm. It comes before this committee because the applicant is the National Park Authority. This application essentially relates to various works to the main dwelling. The proposals include works to windows or replacement windows as well, which are essentially permitted development. But obviously within that there is wider elements of the scheme which certainly do need planning permission, but we're looking at it all as it's presented to us. I will use the following slides just to outline the various different elements of the scheme, and it's probably worth mentioning there is also another live planning application at Driver, but that relates to proposals to convert the western range of farm buildings. That application will come to this committee at a later date. It's still that's still ongoing, so that will come before us at some point in the future. That's the aerial photograph of the site with the dwelling smack bang in the middle. I'm going to use my cursor. Here is a funny dog leg here because it also includes proposals to replace the existing septic tank, which is just down the adjacent field. That's the existing site plan, so that's what we would see on site at the moment. And the next slide is the proposed plan. So say much of the works here relate to the farmhouse itself. It would convert the existing stable buildings to one side to additional a boot room and plant equipment room. The solar panels off from the main roof of the dwelling would be removed, and solar panels would then be on a subsidiary roof to the side. You can see there's clearly a bank of sort of 3 rows of solar panels to the rear, with an equipment store next to that. We'll see that in a bit more detail in a minute. New hedgerow comes across the site here to help with screening of those solar panels. There's a log store to one side of the dwelling, and a larger rear porch, and the patio, the small patio area back slightly extended into the garden. As I said beforehand, the septic tank was replaced with a packaged treatment plant. That's just a bit of closer detail again, so we just see those PV panels. There's 3 rows there, the new hedge and the equipment store, all at the back, and then most of the changes then relate to the house itself. That's the equipment store, which would be sited next to the solar panels. It would house the batteries. There's also a generator and a fuel tank in that building. And part of it is enclosed with a roof, which is where the battery equipment would be, and that would be a sort of green living roof above it, but it's a timber enclosure otherwise. That's just picking up on the solar panels to give an idea of how they look there. So there's a row of 3. They are held into place through screws into the ground, and they would have a maximum height of about 1.5 metres at the highest point to the rear. That's the existing elevations of the house, and if we flip to the proposed, you can begin to see the difference. I'll swap back again. You see the windows change as well. What we're primarily looking at really is the extension for the log store on one side. To the right, if we look at that one here, and then this existing stable building is altered slightly and converted. That's the end of the stable building to the right hand side there. Solar panels come onto that roof, which I think doing that better reveals the significance of the heritage asset itself, because they are removed off the main principal elevation roof and tucked in around the corner. There's 2 air source heat pumps that go on the side of that stable building as well, and then to the far side there's an open log store which isn't linked internally to the main dwelling, and the rear you'd see this larger open sort of canopy porch come around to the back door. That's the existing floor plan. So again, the main change here would be around the rear porch, the stables, which we'll see on the next slide, and then this log store to the side. So we flip to that plan, you begin to see that the stables actually links into the main dwelling, provides a boot room, and then plant equipment room within there, log store at the other end, and you can see the post for the covered porchway. The back and the red line shows the wall that's removed in the back garden, just to enlarge the sort of the level patio area at the back of the dwelling. That's the first floor, but really not majorly changed there. Most of the changes are internal. So that's a photograph of the principal elevation of the dwelling. So the solar panels are taken off that roof here, but they would be replaced with panels on the side roof of the stable building. Again, I think it just returns that dwelling perhaps to more of a traditional appearance, which better reveals its significance. That's the rear elevation. So it's this porch here that's removed and then replaced with something slightly larger along the rear. That's the far end. So this is the existing stable buildings. That corrugated metal comes off and is replaced with cladding. Still with the into it and a couple of air source heat pumps on that elevation. The roof obviously replaced with slate and solar panels installed. That's the end where the log store will be built. That's just similar position, still picking up the side gable, but just pick up the context of the rear garden area, and that's where the bank of the solar panels would be at the top. That's roughly the area where the solar panels would be and the equipment store. That's now sort of moved further out into the site now, looking back towards the rear elevation of Driver Farm, so the solar panels would be nicely tucked in behind that bank in front of us there. That's the rear porch. That's pretty much it, Chairman. It's really for me to say that the report does set out the main planning issues and considers those against the relevant planning policies. The scheme is acceptable, and the recommendation is that planning permission be approved subject to conditions which are set out in the report. Thanks, Chairman.
Thank you very much. Mr. White, members, any views? Mr. Petrinos.
The Highways Authority responded, was that after the report was drafted? Or am I misread? With some queries?
The Highway Authority?
Yeah.
The Highway Authority comments are on the other application, I think.
Oh, I beg your pardon. In that case, I'll withdraw my question.
Could you just, Mr. White, on page 3, the comments to the Parish Council, they were perplexed as to why the PV panels were being removed from the southeast roof elevation, being relocated onto the southwest stable roof with new mounted ground arrays in the garden. That is just to reinforce the point, really to try to return the house to something like its more original appearance, and as part of the reconditioning of the roof.
But I believe so, Chairman. I think from the officer's perspective, it is an improvement on the existing arrangement there. Having the solar panels on a subsidiary roof is a better position, particularly for the character of that property.
Okay.
This seems to be consistent with the briefings we've been held over the months. I'm quite happy to recommend that we accept the recommendation.
Is that seconded? Yes. Mr. Horton.
Could I second it, but could I ask just a very minor question? We're taking the solar panels off. Are we leaving the TV aerials on the front, or are they being relocated as well?
Chairman, the elevations, both elevations shown removed.
Well, a shame. I think television aerials are rather an historic feature. We'll get that way about satellite dishes at some point. On which subject, I remember the dreadful debates we used to have about satellite dishes on houses, and it was a very snobbish conversation, I seem to remember. How dare anyone call it a
snob? It was the satellite aerials that I was doing as well. I mean, they have more impact, I would have thought, than the roof array.
Yes, I think it might be possible to have alternative arrangements now. Mrs. Nicholson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It's a question. In the past, and I can't now lay my finger on application I remember us considering, and it may have been a retrospective one, but I'm not sure, but it is some time ago, about solar panels not mounted on a building, but mounted not far from a farm. And I do remember that the problem was that it wasn't right next to the farm, it was therefore thought to be two separate. Why, I mean, the solar panels have been removed a bit from the farm and put up at the top of that section. I just wonder whether the planning officer would like to comment on that, and on not being in proximity of the building, spreading the thing out, as it were.
Jim, I think in the officer's judgment that is well related to the existing property. I mean, and I think what's helpful is having them positioned there is in terms of the immediate sort of setting of the heritage asset. They're well positioned. I don't really think there's a better position myself to put them, and they're acceptable there.
Okay, thank you.
I think the case we were talking about was Tatterscombe, wasn't it, where they weren't well related to the...
Right. Do you want to say anything else, Mr Nicholson, or is that a legacy microphone? Yeah, thank you.
Sorry.
I assume I've solar panels, but roof mounted. If they're any close to that building, they'd be in the shade, wouldn't they? So you need to keep them away to avoid the shade. Obviously, that makes a big impact on the energy generated.
The ground slopes up behind us, isn't it? So makes sense. Good. Right, we're all satisfied with that then, I think. Is there anything else that anybody would like to say on this proposal? If not, it's been proposed and seconded that we should accept it and that it should be passed. So may I see all those in favour, please, of acceptance? I think that's on record. Thank you very much. Good. So, we move on to item 7, which is applications delegated to the Chief Executive. And we will go through these page by page because, as usual, there are some very interesting ones that we perhaps will want to reflect upon. So, item 7, page 1. Anything there that anybody wishes to note?
It's taking me a little time to scroll through because we haven't got our thing for jumping. If I might, Mr Chairman.
Yes.
I think we've got here also some of the applications that were approved at committee, which perhaps don't belong in this section, because it might worry people that an application of our own sitting there as the first one was determined by officers in this committee, but we know from the minutes it was and there's another one.
That's correct, Chairman. I think that all the applications we can consider at last month's committee are on this list. It shouldn't happen next month. It's an issue with the new system. It should be corrected going forward.
So it's the new system's fault. Yes. Page 2. All right. Page 3. So we have a certificate of lawfulness at Huntsgate Bungalow.
Chairman, this is an interesting one in terms of the description of development that was granted planning permission, referred to it as a holiday chalet, referred to the dwelling as a holiday chalet, but there was no condition on the planning permission restricting its use to holiday use, so it can be occupied as a unrestricted dwelling.
And the refusal at the bottom of that page?
Yes, it was one of a number of retrospect applications on here. This one, unfortunately, wasn't found to be acceptable. It's the use of a flat roof behind a property as a roof terrace, but it is particularly close to neighbours, and it does cause concern with regard to overlooking. So it's not one that we've been able to support, and given its retrospective discussions continue at the minute in terms of how we might resolve that.
Okay. Right. Now, over the page, the first one at the top, quite an interesting one, proposed change of use from ancillary living accommodation to holiday let refused.
Chairman, a lot of the issues with this one revolve around our policy RTD4, which we have debated on at least 2 occasions fairly recently in this committee, where we have non-service holiday accommodation proposed within buildings, and this was one of those circumstances where it didn't meet one of the 4 instances where we might support it, and it's been refused accordingly. We may face an appeal. That's yet to be seen.
Okay. Interesting one, I think, that one. Anything else on page 4? Page 5. And page 6. Yep.
Yeah.
Ah, this is Nicholson.
Decision on the second one down.
Formsley.
It's another issue with the new system, Chairman. For some reason now and then it misses off what the decision is, but it is prior approval was required in that case, so it's one we're seeking more information on.
Mr. Chairman, if we're talking about the new system, the old system had a really convenient a thing, which was that the decision was on the right-hand side, so you could easily see it. It was much quicker to read. I realise the system may not allow it, but if the system allowed the decision to be moved out to the edge, it would be, I think it would be convenient.
I'll ask a question, Chairman.
I mean, if it's not, it's not.
No. I mean, I'll ask a question. I mean, to be honest, sometimes it's the more familiar we come with it, hopefully the easier it is, but I'll ask a question.
We'll see if the computer says no. Mr. Freeman.
As we're talking about the system, I've had some parish councillors moan at me about the new system because they find it difficult to use, and I did tell them I'd pass on their complaints about it not being as intuitive as previously.
Last year there were some very successful planning training sessions that were run with parishes. It might be that it would be a good thing to run a parish training session, maybe online, and the new system could be one of the things, the principal thing that could be dealt with. So that'll compound the issue, won't it? An online session on the new system.
That's a fair point, Jim. And I have to say, the new system has been very successful and it is very good. There's some changes. I think some of the issues sometimes is, again, just building that familiarity, isn't it? And getting used to the system. But honestly, it's been very good, and we've had a lot less issues with this than the old system. So we're very pleased with it, but I think the point about some parish council training might be helpful, and we can look at that particularly online.
Yeah. Mr. Holton?
I was just wondering whether it would be helpful if on these reports, if the application was as a result of enforcement action, there could just be a coding on it, just so that we know which ones have been subject to enforcement.
It's less easy, Chairman. I would say that most of the retrospective ones are a result of the work that Alan's been doing, but not always.
Just have a code.
Okay, we'll can look at that one then, Mr. Holton. Thank you. Mrs. Nicholson, did you want to come back?
Just to endorse the idea of a training session, I think the new system is great, but I did have to fiddle around for quite a long time until I found the place which said I could get to full screen. So it's that happens, that sort of thing that I think would be really helpful.
Well, I think it's always a good thing for us to have an annual training session with towns and parishes anyway, partly just because it's good to have that regular connection. And we're still finding, as we go around to see parish councils, many of them in their annual reports are saying how successful last year's planning training was. So they're remarking on it again, and I think it's both a good public relations thing to do as well as a learning experience, both ways, I suspect. So if we could do something on the new system this year, I think that would be good. Dr. Kelly.
Just relating to enforcement matters again, my recollection was that to do with Formsley, the penultimate one on the last page, there was some concerns about removal of hedge banks. I wondered what the position was regarding that. Thank you.
There's some ongoing matter, Chairman. Basically, it's something we're dealing with.
Yeah.
Right, thank you.
Right, is there anything else then, ladies and gentlemen, on those items? Yes, Mr. Bray?
As we're talking about the system,
Yes, we strayed a little bit.
yeah, but I think I think it's a very good system. I enjoy using the new one, and what I find a lot better is the downloading. You can just click and download, and actually remember your searches as well. You can go back, and if you've logged on, and that's why you can go back. You can't store it because the old system, but the new one does remember what you've been searching within the plan. So they're very good.
So you will have to be a Woodland Courtney representative at the training, Andrew. Thank you. Right, if there's nothing else, ladies and gentlemen, I will declare the planning meeting closed with the proviso that you note that should we require a site visit, it will be on the 3rd of June. So we'll declare that meeting closed.